So the first game week of the Premier League ends with Arsenal beating Man United 1-0 at Old Trafford with a goal from Riccardo Calafiori. Now, guys, let's just get it out there now. Arsenal played terrible today, and United were way better. Like, don't let the scoreline fool you. Arsenal were way worse than United today. I thought that it was literally two different gears in terms of teams on the pitch today. And let's dive into it, because I think looking at this game, it surprised us all. We expected there to be more, I guess from Arsenal's side, we expected them to be a lot better. Unfortunately, they really couldn't get into that first gear pretty much the whole game. And I can't lie, I mean, they were pretty disappointing today. I think they had a lot of hype before the game. I think a lot of fans were looking at their attack. And unfortunately today, they got absolutely nullified by United's defense. They didn't really do anything pretty much the whole game. I thought that when they'd usually get the ball in the final third of the United's half, you thought that, they'd do something. But literally, they were so flat-footed, they couldn't play the final pass correctly the whole game. And they got lucky today. It's simple as. They scored from a corner. When you take a look at least how United played, I think that's like a big positive you can take, because I'm not going to lie, I think United today can leave with their heads up, because today they showed a completely different level to how they were playing last year. And they have clearly made a step up in terms of like their improvement, whether it's physicality, whether it's from like a mentality, competitive point, or even just like tactics. I think that today they really showed a different side to their game, a side that we haven't really seen before, at least under Amorim. And yeah, I think this result is just tough on United more than it is on Arsenal, because United deserve better. They were the better team. They played better football. They seem to have some sort of like tactics, whereas Arsenal just really didn't. I think in that first half, Arsenal really looked shaky in the first 10 minutes. They couldn't really play out from the back correctly. They kind of struggled to get it clicking in the midfield. I thought Rice and Zubimendi were all over the place, and Saliba was looking shaky too. Unfortunately for Arsenal, after that first half, you'd expect them to be way better in the second half and turn up, like the Arsenal we saw last year and the year before. But no, they just never got out of second or third gear. They still looked as flat-footed. I know a lot of eyes were on Gyokeres today and how he'd kind of infiltrate the spaces in behind. But I think United's defense, especially De Ligt today, he was incredible. He played so good against Gyokeres. He really didn't let him sniff any sort of chance or opportunity. Again, like I said for Wirtz against Bournemouth, this was kind of like a welcome to the Premier League moment for Gyokeres. I mean, him being on the pitch for 60 minutes and doing practically nothing, it kind of shows him that this is the standard. You're not in Portugal anymore playing against those the plumbers at the back. You're against the big boys in the Premier League. So I think this is a learning lesson for Gyokeres. And if we're really diving into players and who played well and who didn't play well, obviously the man of the match went to Raya. I thought he made a couple of decent saves throughout. I thought the backline for Arsenal, at least in that first half, they were shaky. I didn't think they really instilled confidence into the Arsenal fans' hearts when dealing with United's attack. Odegaard is okay. He's probably the best of the three, because at least he got the ball way more. He received the ball in good areas in the final third, but again, that passing, the cutting edge that we didn't see last season, it's the same again. It just looked like Arsenal's attack just haven't improved whatsoever. But yeah, when taking a look at United's lineup, I thought that I was pretty surprised that Maguire didn't start. I was surprised that Casemiro and Bruno started with their duo in the midfield. You'd expect something different, because obviously last season it wasn't working at all whatsoever. I thought that maybe Šeško would start, but I mean, for the fact that he only completed his second training session 2 days ago, it makes sense that he only came on after the 65th minute. But I thought that Cunha and Mbeumo had a really good game today. I mean, I'm not looking at the ratings, so I think the ratings are harsh. I think it's only because they lost as well. But Matheus Cunha today, wow, this guy is a player. This is someone who could really take United to the next level. I was watching with my friends, and they said that Cunha is like a Bruno level signing. At least he showed that today, that this guy really offers something so different in United's attack that they were missing before. Ball carrying, passion, ambition, strength, and the way he just glides on the pitch, takes the ball forward, and kind of manipulates the ball to deceive defenders. I thought Gabriel and Saliba really struggled to keep him quiet today, and you saw that with the transitional football when he'd receive the ball in like little pockets of space, and I thought that he really caused Arsenal's backline some trouble today, and he was unfortunate to not get away with something, because I thought that United, with the way they played today, like I said, they really deserved at least a point today. But yeah, mainly in that first half, I mean, like I said, Arsenal really just couldn't get it clicking. United played the better football. They had a couple decent chances, but unfortunately, even for United's sake, after again in that final third, they often play the ball out wide, and then they kind of played across the box, but no one was there. There was no striker there, and I think that's really, really missed Sesko's presence, because Mount, for as well as he played, to be fair, he, again, in the box, he's not a striker. He doesn't have that box threat like, Sesko does, or Xerxes. So I think that's something that United really missed going forward today in that first half, because I really think that with the way Arsenal were playing, they really could have taken advantage of it. I thought that, yeah, in the first half, the biggest threats were Mbeumo, Cunha, and Dorgu. I thought they played a pretty good game today, at least going forward. But if we're talking about the goal, a lot of people are going to talk about how Arsenal really, really rely on set pieces, even in this new season. Because when you take a look at how they were last season, these guys scored like 40% of their goals from set pieces. It is absolutely ridiculous. And fair play to them. I mean, set pieces are part of the game. You have every single right to master them, but relying on them is not something that's going to take you far. And today Arsenal got lucky. They scored via a set piece, a corner again. Bayern should have done way better, in my opinion. I thought that at least Arsenal tactically on corners are very smart. They know that they kind of play around the handbook a little bit in terms of the rules and regulations about kind of boxing the keeper out by using other defenders and stuff. It was a classic Arsenal performance today in terms of set pieces and relying on it, because at least from open play chances, these guys really didn't create much. And the second half, you could tell legs were tired. It was more stretched. It wasn't really a great watch. It was a very physical game, a lot of fouls, kind of to take the sting out of the game, whoever side it was on at the moment. I think in the last 20 minutes, Arsenal really just sat back. They kind of accepted that, like, yeah, we're not playing our best game today. Arteta subbed on 2 more defenders. They kind of took in all the United pressure. And to be fair, United really, really pressured them in those last 10 minutes, put the balls continuously in the box. And in that moment, you have to really give credit to Arsenal, because the way they defended in the last 10 minutes, I mean, it's not really anything surprising. Like, if we're being honest, Arsenal probably have one of the best defenses, or if not the best defense in the league. So breaking down an Arsenal defense, and many people say too, Arsenal are a very tough team to beat. Arsenal winning is a different story, but you actually going out there and beating Arsenal, that's a very tough task. And Arteta's kind of proven that in the last year or two against the big teams, especially. Those last 10 minutes, you kind of have to give credit to Arsenal for kind of holding it down, and they kind of played to their defensive strength. But yeah, like I said, I think United can take some positives from this, because they really competed today on a physical presence, on a tactical presence. I think Amram kind of has his team kind of flowing in the way he wants to play. I thought United playing out from the back today were really, really good. Arsenal looked lost in that midfield today. I think that Bruno and Casemiro really got it clicking. You're able to see how Amram kind of uses his defenders, like Shaw and Euro today especially. When playing the balls either out wide to Dorgu or to Dalot, you could kind of see the pockets of space that Cunha and Mbeumo would receive. And I don't know if it was Zubimendi or Saliba kind of marking Cunha, but this guy would always find himself open somehow, and he would just, again, ball carry, kind of utilize his intelligence as a footballer, and just really just be a nuisance to that back line. Honestly, there's not really much else to take from this game. I thought that for most of the game it was kind of just choppy. I think for a lot of the game it was a very physical dogfight. Arsenal United is always a physical game, and it's surprising actually, because you'd expect Arsenal to be more dominant on the ball, right? But it's today United really, if you look at the stats, United really kind of bossed the possession today, 61% to 39, and it's weird because most Arsenal United fixtures, Arsenal will be the one dominating with the ball, but today was really just Arsenal sitting back and kind of countering United whenever they made a mistake in possession, and it happened a couple times. But again, Arsenal just really looked terrible in that final third today. But yeah, Cunha today completed the most dribbles in the match, I think, right? Yeah, he did. But yeah, like I said, United just got to keep their heads up. I think that they shouldn't take this loss as too mentally taxing on them. I think more eyes should be on Arsenal. This was a concerning performance in my opinion, at least to their standards under Arteta. So I think that for Arsenal, they have a really tough fixture list ahead. I think they played Leeds next, but then after that, they played Liverpool, Forest, and City. So those are going to be really tough games for them, especially if they play like this. But I'd expect Arsenal to be way better. Obviously, coming to Old Trafford on your first game week away isn't an easy game for anyone. But yeah, I think it'll be really interesting going forward to see how these players kind of adapt to the Premier League. Like I said, Gyokeres didn't have a great game today. I think Sesko kind of showed moments of what he can do today, but again, he only had 25 minutes, so there's only so much you can do. And I'd expect both teams to, just to continue playing better. I mean, United played better today, don't get it twisted. And I think that with the fixtures they have upcoming, both teams are going to be really tested. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say today, guys. Nothing too much to take away from this. I thought it was an okay game. It wasn't anything too special. And even the Palace and Chelsea game wasn't the greatest game today either. But hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Road to 100 subs, like I said. So if you haven't, please subscribe. I'll be very consistent, or I'll try to be very consistent with the uploads. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.